Hi everyone, I have another book to read with you. This is Buddy's Playdate by Jim Henson's The Dinosaur Train. Buddy was looking off into the distance as Shiny explained the new rules to dinosaur hopscotch to her brothers and sister. Buddy, are you even listening? Shiny asked. Sorry, Shiny, said Buddy. I thought I heard the dinosaur train whistle. Today was the day that Dolores Tyrannosaurus and her daughter Annie were coming to visit Petrodon Terrace for the first time. Oh, and Buddy couldn't wait. Buddy loved hanging out with Annie because they were a lot alike. Her hands have 2 fingers, and she has big green eyes and sharp teeth, just like me, Buddy told Don. And we both have good eyesight and a good sense of smell, he continued, and we can both run and we play kick the cone. Tiny was excited for Annie's visit, too. No one likes kick the cone as much as Annie does, Putty said. But you'll really like her, Don. That made Tiny feel a little sad. Did Buddy like Annie more than she liked her? Just then, Don and Shiny grabbed Buddy and flew off toward the train station. They were so excited to see the T-Rexes. Come on, they called to Tiny. As the whole Petrodon family waited on the platform, the dinosaur train chugged into the station. Annie jumped out of the train car. Hi, Tiny. Hi, Shiny. Hi, Don, she yelled. And then, hey, Buddy. Roar! Hey, Annie. Hi, too, Buddy replied. And then they tapped each other's fingers. Annie and Buddy both wore big, toothy grins. Whoa, said Don. He was watching as Dolores climbed out of the passenger car. She was really big, Buddy. Are you going to be that big someday? Maybe even bigger, Buddy replied. Roar, said Annie as she elbowed Buddy playfully. Mr. and Mrs. Petrodon took Dolores to see their home. Shiny led the kids to the dinosaur hopscotch court, but Annie suggested a game of I Smell instead. I don't really feel like playing that, said Shiny. I think I'll just go hang out with the grown-ups. Then she flapped off towards the nest. I love I Smell, said Buddy. Annie explained the rules to Tiny and Don. Then everyone started sniffing around. I only smell leaves and dirt, said Tiny with a frown. I just smell bugs, added Don, popping one into his beak. Buddy kept sniffing. I smell, with my big nose, these fruity-smelling berries. Ding, 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 said Annie. You're right, Buddy. That's what I could smell. Tiny frowned as Buddy and Annie touched fingers of her high too. Why can't we play a game that Petrodons can win? Tiny begged. The next game that Annie picked was Kick the Cone. I knew she'd pick that, said Tiny disappointedly. T-Rexes have big, strong legs. Okay, Buddy, you count to 5 and we'll all hide, said Annie. And when you find one of us, we all run to kick the cone. And remember, no flying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Buddy spotted Don behind a bush. I see you, Don, he shouted. They both took off running to be the first one to kick the cone. But Tiny came out of her hiding place and started running towards the cone, too. Then, from the other direction, Annie came sprinting across the clearing. She kicked the cone and won the game. Tiny and Don were panting loudly. You run fast, said Don. And Buddy, how could you even see where I was hiding? I guess I just have good eyesight, said Buddy. Don't feel badly, Don, Annie said. We T-Rexes have eyes that face forward, and that way we can see you so easily. Yeah, roar! We're T-Rexes, Annie and Buddy yelled out together. Can we please just play something else? Tiny pleaded. I don't want to play T-Rex games anymore. Tiny marched off into the woods. Don started to follow after her, but then he shrugged and headed back to play bug collectors with Buddy and Annie. Hey, Buddy, said Don. You haven't collected any bugs. What's wrong? I was thinking about Tiny, Buddy said. Something made her feel sad or mad. I was thinking we should find her. Don, Annie, and Buddy started to play Let's Find Tiny. They sniffed along the ground, they following her tracks. Then their tracks stopped. She must have started flying. Buddy remembered Tiny's tiny place up in a tree. It was where she liked to go when she wanted to be alone. Annie spotted something green and it was in a hole of the tree, way up high. Don flew up to the hole, and there was Tiny. She couldn't believe anyone had come to find her. Tiny flapped back down to the ground. Then she apologized to Buddy and Annie for flying off. "We're sorry, too," said Annie. "We should have played more games that Petrodons were good at." Back at the station, the Petrodon family waved goodbye to Dolores and Annie as the dinosaur train chugged away. "I was afraid that if Annie was your friend, you wouldn't want to be friends with me anymore," Tiny told Buddy quietly. "That's why I flew away." "But you're my sister and my best friend," said Buddy. "Think of all the special things we know about each other." Tiny knew that Buddy was right, and they both loved the dinosaur train, and they both thought bugs tasted awful. Buddy even knew about Tiny's tiny place. They weren't the same species, but Buddy and Tiny were pretty much the same on the inside, and they were the best friends forever. Bye.